What's up everyone, it's Arcadenaut here. Today I will be talking about Fate Samurai Remnant, an action RPG that was quite enjoyable, possibly slept on by many, and one of the most notable games of this year. The Fate series has always been a journey of magic, legendary warriors taking forms of busty babes, lolly girls or femboys. But when that universe converges with the disciplined, stoic backdrop of the samurai era, it crafts an experience that's nothing short of extraordinary. And Fate Samurai Remnant does exactly that. I have been waiting for a decent Fate game for years. I played Fate Extella and its sequel Link for some time. However, their Warriors type of gameplay was quite lacking and repetitive and made me drop after playing for a couple of hours. This time, however, Fate Samurai Remnant offers a lot more, and I know many of you think these Muso, also known as warrior games, when you see Koei Tecmo and Kou Shibusawa names, but Fate Samurai Remnant is different. And I rather call it more like an action RPG game that is a bit similar to Persona 5 Strikers in terms of gameplay mechanics. If you're into Fate series, if you are playing Fate Grand Order or watched its anime series, I think Samurai Remnant is a must-play for you. If you're just curious and haven't watched a single Fate title, Samurai Remnant can be your entry ticket to the Fate series. Mythical heroic spirits, Feudal Japan, Musashi Miyamoto, and lots of action-packed battles are taking place in Fate Samurai Remnant, so if you are ready, then let's begin the Vaxing Moon Ritual. Fate Samurai Remnant merges the vast universe of the Fate series with the historic and magnetic charm of Japan's samurai era. We are the only student of legendary warrior Musashi Miyamoto. We have studied under him and learned the ways of two swords. Just like in other Fate titles, Feudal Japan turns into the arena for upcoming Vaxing Moon Ritual, in which the remaining summoner is granted one omnipotent wish. Without realizing it, our main character, Miyamoto Iori, is selected for this upcoming battle and quickly targeted by one of the other summoners and her heroic spirit, a rider in dark ebony samurai armor. To survive this attack, Iori also summons his own servant, a saber-type heroic spirit that uses water-based attacks, granting Iori a chance to improve his techniques, become stronger and survive this unholy ritual. In the World of Fate series, this ritual is also known as Holy Grail War. 7 masters compete against each other with their own heroic spirit servant, and this fundamental concept is again the main plot of Fate Samurai Remnant. There are 7 types of servants, beginning with Saber, Rider, Lancer, Assassin, Caster, Archer and Berserker. These are basically like jobs or classes for RPGs. And these servants, namely heroic spirits, are heroes, warriors, or call it mythological beings that have left their impact in the history. And also as a side note, there might be people watching this video who wouldn't want these servants' identities to be spoiled, so I won't be mentioning who they are. And all of these main servants and also 7 rogue servants who just wander around in Feudal Japan Tokyo are quite interesting, fun to play, and bring flavor to the Fate Samurai Remnant. As the sole student of Musashi Miyamoto, Iori begins to learn new techniques, walks on the path of his master, trying to bring peace and order to Edo, forging bonds with his own servant Saber as well as with other rogue servants so that they would aid him in this battle to death. As we play as Iori and Saber as our supportive party member, we can take one of the recruited rogue servants with us to battle, use their techniques and even switch to them when we have our affinity gauge full. Fate Samurai Remnant story is captivating and somewhat close to Fate Unlimited Blade Works, and sometimes even closer to Fate Zero in terms of its tone. We get to learn more about Saber's past, its identity, how Musashi Miyamoto's philosophy affected Iori, and how Iori is destined to surpass his master while battling and challenging his master. Actually, his master in heroic spirit form, Berserker. And here you may wonder why the legendary Musashi Miyamoto is a busty G-cup lady samurai, right? And I get that, I get this question. Like, big tits sell anime merchandise like hotcakes, right? However, this female version of Musashi Miyamoto is, like Berserker, meaning that it also pictures the violent side of Musashi Miyamoto. And if I were to say more, then I would just spoil stuff, so I want you to experience it on your own. But trust me, it might look cringe or just weep from afar, but actually, it's not. And on the other hand, Fate Samurai Remnant is not weep at all. It does not have any cringe characters or silly anime tropes. All of its characters' servants are well chosen, well written, and that's why I see Fate Samurai Remnant close to Fate Zero in terms of narrative and tone in some ways. But if you are still with me, if you are interested in Fate Samurai Remnant, then let's talk about its gameplay and other aspects next. Now, I played a ton of action RPGs and Musou genre titles like One Piece Pirate Warriors and even Berserk and the Band of White Hawk. If I were to just summarize Fate Samurai Remnant's gameplay tone, I would say its open world style, wandering around in Edo, is somewhat like Yakuza Like a Dragon series open world style. Its combat mechanics are like a blend of The Legend of Zelda Age of Calamity and Persona 5 Strikers, meaning that it consists light and heavy attacks with different spells, different spatial moves, and playable characters. There are lots of challenging side bosses with shells that you need to break with consecutive attacks to deal damage, while switching to Saber to finish the battle and to deal more damage than Iori for a period. I think this would be the best, the most accurate way of summarizing how Fate Samurai Remnant is. As I mentioned before, you don't need to know anything about the Fate series. You might only miss some fun service elements like Gilgamesh appearing as a luxurious textile merchant and supporting Miyamoto Iori, or Cuckoo Lane appearing as a rogue servant and challenging Iori and Saber for a challenging duel. However, it could be your entry ticket to the series and possibly one of the best. The gameplay associated with each character isn't just about doing flashy moves, but also about understanding the depth of their skill set. Starting with Iori and Saber, each and every playable character have their own extensive skill tree available, and these aren't just merely linear progressions but also affects Iori's improvement and his playstyle customizations as well. As a blend of traditional samurai weaponry with the magical prowess from the Fate universe, players can fully customize Iori's katanas and his spellcasting moves. Katana customization here is mostly about obtaining high rarity pieces and upgrading the parts for higher attribute points, whereas spellcrafting depends on how you want to play. Whether it be a destructive AoE fire spell or a defensive buff, you have a lot of options. Both Iori and Saber can carry 4 different spells, so to say, but these can be easily changed when you're not in combat. However, the main vital point of combat is about Iori's stances. Starting with Earth and Water, in total, Iori has 5 different stances, as each one of them offer a different playstyle. Earth is more defensive, Water is more wide-range AoE attacks, Wind is magic, Fire is raw power, and Void, oh boy, the Void is the Virgil mode.
Scum.
Void stance deals the most damage as long as your health is full, changing the whole Samurai Remnant experience into something like one-hit KO hack and slash experience for me. You can just change into different stances in combat whenever you wish, as in fact, Samurai Remnant wants you to change. If Iori uses one stance for too long, he gains this burst effect that would support the next stance. For instance, like Void grants additional Void strikes, Wind bestows fire attacks, and so on. You can just stick to one fighting stance, or you can just change depending on your mood or depending on your enemies. It is totally up to you and how you want to play. And I think the only downside of the combat is probably the combo moves being only a mix of light and heavy attacks, And I do believe Devil May Cry-like inputs at least would make Fate Samurai Remnant more challenging, more fun to play, and also action-packed. It is not a Musou game, but still using the combo moves from those games. Fate Samurai Remnant is not just faithful to the Fate series due to its concept, narrative, and gameplay, but also due to its art design choices. As some of the servants carry the same design choice as Fate Grand Order or Fate Extella, in-game graphics are somewhat resembling the cel-shade visuals that also match with in-game setting. Different regions of Edo have different shops, different enemies and landscapes. There are stray cats and Shiba Inus that you can pet with saber to heal your lost health. Samurai Remnant really offers those Yakuza Like a Dragon-like minor side activities. Most of the side quests are about other rogue servants and saber, and you mostly occupy yourself either with main story progress or with these contents, but wandering around in different districts have never become dull for me. As Fate is about 7 different summoners fighting to win this Holy Grail war, Iori also slowly finds himself fighting against other competitors, which turns Samurai Remnant into something like a capture the point like experience. As you summon ley lines to amplify your magic and to break your enemy's barriers, you and Saber split up and conquer different maps. Fight against demons or swordsmen of Edo period to gather ley lines so that you can take the war into your enemy's base. As this is also one of the core main story progression of Fate Samurai Remnant, you get to upgrade your base, unlock specifications that would help you to craft leyline spells to help you conquer more areas easier, and so on. This capture the point mode becomes even more fun when rogue servants join Iori's cause, as you have 5 different characters spreading across Edo to battle on their own. As my whole Fate Samurai Remnant experience took around 29 hours to complete, I did every side quest that it offered, and needless to say, we are playing a Fate game here, so there's also choices that lead to different endings, of course. During the last quest of Chapter 4, we encounter with a choice that totally shapes Chapter 5 and how the story concludes, with different servants becoming more relevant, different bosses appearing, and just like Armored Core 6, there is another ending that is called as the true ending, only achievable by completing New Game Plus playthrough, offering you more playable characters to customize your party and more Fate Zero-like ending. But to be honest here, I achieved only the good ending called Ray of Light and save my New Game Plus playthrough for Season Pass DLC contents. I really enjoyed Fate Samurai Remnant a lot and would like to play it again later on with more servants included to the journey. And what's really interesting is that there's also a joke ending here. Just like UFO or Shiba Inu endings of Silent Hill, Fate Samurai has a joke ending, including Gilgamesh. It is best to complete this quest before you finish the game to see how that turns out. Fate Samurai Remnant surprised me, and it offered the Fate gameplay experience that I was longing for years, and it totally, and I mean totally, satisfied me with its contents, visuals and narrative. I really enjoyed the relationship between Saber and Iori. I really enjoyed how Berserker Musashi influenced Iori's growth, the customization choices, memorable servants and characters. Of course, there are minor flaws that could have been improved. It could have offered even a better experience with more content, but as an anime game and as a series that is milking hundreds, thousands of dollars every month with Fate Grand Order's gacha boxes, Fate Samurai Remnant remains faithful, captivating and enjoyable. And possibly one of the best anime games of this year and as well as the recent years. Totally recommending if you're a Fate fan or not, give it a chance. I'm sure you will find a servant that you would love. And as a side note, I am sorry boys, but Astolfo is not in the game. Maybe not yet, huh? maybe our Monster Energy drink loving servant Astolfo would appear as a DLC content. And as always, thank you for watching today's video. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, consider joining my Discord channel if you enjoyed it. I still have lots of ideas to create content with. I will see you soon. I will see you again. Stay tuned.